It's football night in Canada with the setting sun here in Toronto. It's Toronto FC II and St. Louis FC. The Cadets are in attendance tonight. Massimo Mirabelli looking to kickstart a dormant Toronto FC II attack. He is starting up front alongside Edwin Rivas. The two of them both scored in a 2-1 victory over St. Louis back on May 14th. And the man trying to keep the ball out of the Toronto FC II net, Quillen Roberts, back after a 2-game absence with the Canadian men's national team. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan. Game 3 of Toronto FC's 8-game homestand. The Baby Reds are still looking for their first victory in their new home stadium. I'm Matt Antonio alongside Chantel Blais. Tonight kicks off a string of 3 games in 7 days for Toronto. This is the starting 11 for tonight's contest. I'm sure we'll see a lot of different players over the course of the next 7 days. These are the starting 11 for tonight. As mentioned, Quillen Roberts with a shutout streak of 271 consecutive minutes. He is back between the pipes. Jordan Hamilton is back starting up front with Mirabelli and Edwin Rivas. Skylar Thomas back on the back line for the Baby Reds. The opposition tonight, St. Louis FC. They are led by goalkeeper Alec Khan. He is second in the USL in save percentage, and their captain is midfielder Brandon Barklage. Toronto FC II have had a week off since their last 2-0 defeat to Rochester. But first, the national anthems.
Now let's join together in singing the Canadian national anthem.
Toronto FC II enter this match 3-7-2 on the season. They are 10 points out of a playoff spot with 2 games in hand on Harrisburg City. St. Louis was last in action on Wednesday afternoon. They suffered a 5-2 loss in Montreal. Chantel, Toronto has scored just 1 goal in their last 6 contests. What do they need to do to start generating some offense tonight?
This has been the main focus throughout the week at training. Quite simply, they need to take more shots and capitalize on all set pieces and opportunities in front of the net. Keep possession, be creative, not just the long ball. Look to mix it up left and right sides. If they take control of this game early, they'll be all right.
The good news for Toronto, they beat St. Louis in their only previous matchup this season, a 2-1 road win back on May 14th. What can they take from that match to build into tonight's contest?
Because they scored 2 goals, they pocketed 2 goals, they're going to be confident knowing that they can score on this team. Last time they were scored, Toronto FC was scored on in the first minute, but they answered back in 8 minutes later. If they score first today, they can take control of this game and be the aggressors like Jason Bent has kept saying that he wants them to do since they've been playing at home. And I think if they do that today and play to his style, they'll definitely do all right.
Edwin Rivas scored that goal 8 minutes after Toronto FC fell behind. Massimo Mirabelli scored in the 38th minute en route to the 2-1 win in St. Louis. A couple of additional lineup notes. Defender Wesley Sharpie still not available for a 3rd straight game after collecting an ankle injury against Wilmington on June 27th. There is some optimism that he may be ready to rejoin the club in the coming week. Chris Manella, the captain, Mo Babouli, Raheem Edwards, Manny Aparicio, and Adam Bouchard, another key member to that back line, are still with the Canadian men's under-23 squad competing in the Pan Am Games. They will not be available for tonight's match, obviously. And some good news from that Canadian team. Manella and Babouli have both started both games for Toronto. Mo Babouli scoring the only goal for Canada in their 4-1 loss to Brazil. So very valuable experience being gained by those players on the international stage.
Definitely, and being able to bring it back here and share the experiences with these young guys is going to be great to see them develop as the season goes on.
Toronto FC 2, as always, in the full red kits. They are moving from right to left on your monitor. St. Louis FC in the all-white kits, and we are moments away from kicking this game off. Toronto FC 2 still looking for their first victory in their new home stadium, their first goal in their new home stadium as well. There is the whistle. We are underway at the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan, under the lights with a setting sun to the west. Brandon Barklage with the ball in midfield. He is a former DC United player in MLS, and he wears the captain's armband and number 25 for St. Louis. That's Massimo Mirabelli. Liam Frazier playing the middle of that midfield back line. Skylar Thomas is back in the lineup as well. He was not in action 1 week ago when Toronto fell 2-0 to Rochester. As mentioned, this is the first of 3 games in 7 days, so with the large roster available to head coach Jason Bent, we expect there will be several lineup changes, not only in this game, but throughout the week, going from game to game as well.
Definitely, it's a busy week. You want to have fresh legs out there, and we'll be seeing a lot of that in the next coming minutes.
A little bit of a breeze has picked up here, a very comfortable weather conditions for football here tonight. The breeze definitely providing some cooling from the hot sun that was out all afternoon here in Toronto. But the wind should not play a significant factor on ball movement tonight. On the far side of the field, that was Marcus Godinho, who momentarily lost possession of the ball, was able to regain it for Toronto. Skylar Thomas cleared out to midfield. Barklage intercepted once more by Thomas, and that's Luca Uccello. Mentioned Quillen Roberts back with the club, and should note that goalkeeper Alex Bono, who started the previous 2 matches in Quillen's absence, was up with the first team this afternoon. Toronto FC taking a 2-1 victory. Alex Bono was on the bench backing up Joe Bendick, and Clement Simonin also up on the bench with the first team, so he is not on the reserves list tonight, not available for Toronto FC 2. That long ball on the left flank, looking for Mark Anthony Kay. just out of his reach, and it will go to a throw-in to St. Louis. Nick Bibbs is number 13, and he will throw this in. He has Jacob Bushu. He is pressured, and now Bibbs out to midfield. That is Kentaro Takada, looking for Charles Rankin on the right flank. Neatly defended by Toronto, and Mark Anthony Kay will switch the field for the Baby Reds, and they will press forward with Godinho. And Uccello looking for Godinho. That pass out of his reach. James Musa will kick it out of bounds, and it will be a quick throw-in for Toronto. As we are just 3 minutes into this match, both teams still gathering evidence, gathering a sense of what tonight's match might bring. There's a through ball for Mike Ambersley. He is defended well. That comes back out for Charles Rankin. He tries to cross it over for Takada, but Godinho is to it first. Anthony Osorio, one of 3 Osorio brothers in the Toronto FC player tree. His younger brother, Nicholas, added to the player pool. He is on the reserves list for tonight's game. And the eldest brother, Jonathan, played with Toronto FC this afternoon, and he said after the game that he planned on coming up to Vaughan tonight to watch his brothers play.
Which has to be good and an obvious motivation for his 2 younger brothers, who I'm sure look up to him.
Jonathan also recently came back from the Canadian Gold Cup team, played in 1 match. A disappointing showing for Canada in the Gold Cup, winless and goalless in 3 matches. Mark Anthony Kay, quick to intercept, a second time as well. One there by Bushu. And Sam Fink will control. Sam Fink wearing number 3, defender, one of the players that head coach Jason Bent said that Toronto needed to keep an eye on tonight. Jason Bent very impressed with Fink's work in set pieces. So when the first set piece of the evening for St. Louis comes about, we will see exactly what caught the eye of head coach Jason Bent. That is headed down by Daniel Fabrizi and will go out of bounds. Will be a throw-in to St. Louis. Fans, have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub. Charles Rankin plays that through. Player taken down in the box. He looks to the referee for a signal, but there is none coming, and they will play on. Bushu in for Takada. That is hammered out by Fabrizi, but not cleared very far. Crossed in again by Rankin. The wind grabbing that one in its teeth, but Quillen Roberts grabbing it with his gloves before any damage comes to pass. Liam Frazier. Skylar Thomas. Edwin Rivas. All the way out to the wing for Mark Anthony Kay. Osorio. Jordan Hamilton. He has scored the most recent goal for Toronto FC II back on June 27th in a 1-0 win against Wilmington at BMO Field. It's Mark Anthony Kay pushing the field forward. Kay crossing into the box. No one there to collect it for Toronto. Godinho with a right-footed attempt. Does not go very far, and now St. Louis will push it up on the left side. That was Parker Mayer leading the attack, but Godinho got back to poke it out of bounds. Bushu and Takada, Fink and Bibbs. Nick Bibbs up for Charles Rankin. Number 11 in the orange cleats. Bibbs to the middle of the field. Taken by Brian Gall momentarily. Number of one-touch passes from St. Louis. The wind is blowing both inwards towards our cameras and to the right of your screen, which is towards the Toronto FC goal. And it has picked up in intensity since this match started. And you have to think that it may, in fact, play some sort of factor in ball movement this evening.
Definitely. It's not right now benefiting either team, but if you're going to do a long ball like we saw with Kay crossing that over, he was going against the wind there, but still it was a lot of power but went over. But that's something they're going to have to take into consideration or just play the ball on the ground still.
Nick Bibbs trying to put it up into the wind once more, but Quillen Roberts judging it appropriately. And Bibbs put his hand up to apologize to a teammate. I think he maybe put a little bit too much on it. Mirabelli playing it forward. Rivas taken down with a hard tackle there just outside the penalty area, and it's drawn a foul for Toronto in a very dangerous position. It's James Musa who took down Edwin Rivas. Bibbs was in the area as well, and Rivas is still on the turf in a bit of discomfort and now slowly making his way to a seated position. As we'll take a second look at what happened to Edwin Rivas here, and definitely a push in the back from James Musa and an appropriate call from the official.
Yeah, it was a physical challenge and awarded so.
So the free kick to be taken by Luca Uccello. A number of red shirts up into the penalty area looking to strike here in the 9th minute. Uccello gets the signal from the official. It's played in right on goal and gloved by Alec Khan. What do you make of the decision from Uccello to try and put that right to goal?
Not a bad attempt. If Kay's head was there a little quicker, it may have been a tap in, but first opportunity, like we talked about earlier, how they're going to get on the board, it is these set pieces that they need to take advantage of.
A St. Louis squad that has been known to concede 5 goals given up on Wednesday against Montreal. And could that be the remedy that Toronto is looking for as they look to snap their offensive drought? Out of the reach of Brian Gall, and Skylar Thomas will be there to defend the oncoming Mike Ambersley. But it's St. Louis with possession now. Takada towards the corner. He will try to cut in. Godinho defends well. Parker Mayer working away from a check. He's being marked by Hamilton, who will now give chase to Jacob Bushu. Comes to the near side of the field, Sam Fink. Pushed up for Bibbs. Bibbs marked by Kay. Will get another touch. Bibbs played forward. Here's an attempt. Stopped by Roberts. It rolls towards the goal and cleared off the line by Skylar Thomas. It was an opportunity for Mike Ambersley on the through ball from Nick Bibbs. Quillen Roberts got a hand to it, slowed it down, and Skylar Thomas rather was there to eliminate any more possibilities. Let's take another look. A deft touch from Ambersley, but Quillen Roberts, as he has been in the last 3 matches, just spectacular when called upon. And in those 3 consecutive clean sheets, a penalty kick as well against Wilmington.
He has such a confident demeanor about him standing in that net. He owns his box, and that's something that I think offensive players can see and they can feel.
Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Should note that Toronto FC General Manager Tim Bezbachenko in attendance tonight. He was just a few moments ago up in the broadcast area scouting tonight's match and looking at what his young players have to offer tonight. And an offering from Mirabelli is deflected away by a St. Louis defender, and now with Barklage they will push forward. Swung out wide for Bibbs. Bibbs had the through ball to Ambersley that created the best scoring opportunity of the evening thus far, but that is taken by Mark-Anthony Kay on an excellent bit of defending. Last touch to Toronto off the boot of Edwin Rivas, and will go for a throw-in to St. Louis. Bibbs receiving it back from Gall, and will just boot it down past the end touch line, and a goal kick to come from Quillen Roberts. Mirabelli, Fabrizi. Liam Frazier will send it back to his goalkeeper, Quillen Roberts. Toronto goalkeepers wearing the green kits tonight. Alternate kit for them, normally sporting purple, but tonight they go with green. Godinho. Uccello, one touch. Will chip it back forward out of the reach of Godinho, and it is sent back by James Musa. Skylar Thomas there to meet it for Toronto. Fraser, long ball forward, and Jordan Hamilton a couple of steps offside. The flag going up immediately. And played quickly now by St. Louis. Barklage. Mayer, Parker Mayer, pushing forward, past the second Toronto defender. To the middle of the field for Ambersley. Ambersley, now Brian Gall. Barklage will switch to the right side. Charles Rankin, and now Bushu. Rankin again, pressed by Kay. Will push back for Fink. Musa, Barklage. We're approaching a quarter of an hour as we move into the 14th minute of this match. And you could say one good scoring opportunity for each side. The set piece, the free kick just outside the box from Luca Uccello, which found its way on goal. And the quick touch from Mike Ambersley that went off the hand of Quillen Roberts and stayed out. Other than that, mostly play in midfield thus far.
Yeah, almost 15 minutes in, there hasn't really been a team that's had majority of the possession, but one thing I've noticed is that it's a very fast-paced game. Throw-ins are being taken quickly, same with free kicks, so the intensity is definitely out there.
That will please Toronto head coach Jason Bent. He had been preaching that in his recent media availability, and you could sense the frustration in his voice after last Saturday's loss to Rochester. Admittedly, one of the better teams in the league, but he knew that his team was the lesser of the two in every aspect of the game, and he's looking to improve that effort from his roster this evening. Jacob Bushu swings it out for Parker Mayer. Mayer will move back to the middle of the pitch. Off the foot of Mirabelli, bounces down. Godinho plays it back for Roberts, and just out of the reach of Ambersley, and Roberts is able to kick it out of bounds. And what decision was that from Marcus Godinho?
I'm not sure if he thought he had a little bit more time, but that is the worst pass you could, that's a suicide pass. You never want that, especially to your goaltender, the last person of defense.
And of course, Roberts unable to use his hands in that opportunity, no choice but to try and get a foot on it. And luckily, he was out far enough and able to get out quick enough. But Mike Ambersley is going to be having nightmares about this first 15 minutes. He's had two opportunities. I guess that one not so much an opportunity. He wasn't able to get a foot on it, but boy, has he been close twice in these first 15 minutes. Mirabelli trying to free it up from Bushu, but instead it is sent out to the left flank for Parker Mayer. As St. Louis continues to press forward just a little bit more than Toronto at this point in the first 16 minutes. But Toronto's defense has been tight thus far. And that one will weave its way out of bounds, and Godinho will take a throw in. Onto the boot of Hamilton, and immediately back out of bounds, and this will be a St. Louis throw-in from an identical spot. Kentaro Takada from Japan throwing that ball in. A couple of international players on this St. Louis roster. Liam Fraser collects. Not a good touch from him, and St. Louis will counterattack quickly. There's Rankin, works in, there's a shot and a save by Quillen Roberts. Once again, he looks on point in this game. Rankin, as we see the replay, walks in, right-footed boot, and Roberts down, hands up off the hands and out for a corner. This is played short for Barklage. Barklage now will cross it in. It is off the head of Luca Uccello and cleared to safety from Toronto. Lobbed back in from St. Louis. Brian Gall trying to cross to the middle. There's a strike from Ambersley, and he put it wide, and that's the third in the opening 20 minutes of opportunities for Ambersley, and he has been unable to connect thus far. And St. Louis in these last 5 minutes certainly picking up the pace and the possession, and they have looked the better of the two squads in these last 5 minutes.
Definitely, and talking to Ben earlier this week, he said he knows that this team is quick and they are very strong on the counterattack. We almost just saw it happen again, so that's one thing. They have to make sure that the defense stays strong and doesn't break down.
Off the head of Jordan Hamilton, push forward, Mirabelli loses that loose header to Sam Fink. Now Mirabelli will knock it down a second time. He has Jordan Hamilton with him, pushes forward, Rivas is there as well. Hamilton knocked off the ball with a check from James Musa, and a physical play there from the St. Louis defender. Jordan Hamilton, slow to his feet, is now up, and an excellent bit of defending from St. Louis there. Fabrizi will slow it down for Toronto. Osorio now moving forward. Looking for Mirabelli, passes behind him, and St. Louis will gain the possession.
This seems to be the area on the field, the attacking third, where Toronto FC have the most difficulties creating opportunities. That's where you want to be able to tic-tac-toe and create the opportunities and capitalize. But the last 3 games we've seen here in Vaughan, it's not coming together for them there.
Takada with it now at midfield. Rankin and Gall. Played back for Bushu. On the right flank, looking to have Bibbs run onto it, but it was well out of his jurisdiction, and will be a throw-in for Toronto. Jason Benton holding onto the ball right now before giving instruction to Mark-Anthony Kay, and then allowing him to have the ball for the throw-in. Skylar Thomas. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider. Join club conversations and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. Bibbs and Barklage. Fink. Takada. Offside flag goes up from the official on the near side. Toronto will be given the possession. This one all the way back to Roberts, and he will boot it up high, and you can see that wind just pushing it back. Gall plays it forward, looking for Ambersley. Skylar Thomas was on it for Toronto. Push in the back from Rivas will give a free kick to St. Louis. That was Jacob Bushu looking to move forward for St. Louis. Bibbs, Rankin. Mark-Anthony Kay is there to defend, and will give a reprieve to the Toronto defense momentarily. Bibbs throws in all the way into the area, headed away by Liam Frazier. Clearing for Jordan Hamilton will find Mark-Anthony Kay, and he is able to get it up to Mirabelli. One touch for Hamilton, defended well by Bibbs. Out of bounds, throw into Toronto. Kay will throw into Fabrizi. Fabrizi will try to push through. Unable to get around the second St. Louis player. and they will counterattack, but Skylar Thomas steps up and makes a play on the ball and pushes it forward for Toronto quickly. Mirabelli through forward, looking for Rivas, I believe. Easily handled by Alec Khan. Jordan Hamilton looking back at Mirabelli and motioning towards the left flank. He was looking for a ball in that area, and so many times we have said it this season, the communication just not on par for Toronto.
And that's the difference. That's where you need to be coming together. You need to know each other's passes before they're even doing them. And in order for that to start happening, they just need to make sure they're talking. And we've talked about this. I guess it seems like it's been the curse of the whole season so far, but that idea was there. Both of them were there. Hamilton was there and Rivas, and he chose Rivas, and I guess Hamilton didn't like that decision.
Important to remember, a young team, an expansion team, these players still in their first season, playing together, growing together, and obviously learning together. And much lineup turnover from week to week for this squad for obviously a number of reasons. Barklage played back for Bouchou, and now Sam Fink. Musa now up Bibbs. Rankin. Ambersley. There's Gall. Mayer working against Uccello and Godinho. Will circle back for Barklage. Musa. Onto the right flank for Bibbs. Plenty of space. Rankin crosses, and Godinho will come down with it. Frazier will have to be quick. Osorio even quicker. And Mark-Anthony Kay now will push it up for Toronto. Long ball, Rivas the intended target. It is off target, and St. Louis will be able to set their sights on the Toronto end of the field. Musa. Fink. Again, Musa. As we approach 25 minutes played in this opening half. No scoring in Toronto between Toronto FC 2 and St. Louis FC. This out of bounds off Toronto. Quick throw in to St. Louis. Bibbs. Takata. Again, Bibbs. The defending is close, so he will push it back to his own side of midfield for Sam Fink. He will push it up forward, looking for Brian Gall, well out of his reach, and Quillen Roberts will come onto it and slow down the pace for Toronto. And it is now Roberts. Excuse me, Thomas with it from Roberts. Frazier and now Fabrizi. Kay gets around Takata, stumbles. Takata claims innocence. The referee agrees with him. And Takata now will be fortunate enough to collect the ball and switch over to the left side of the field for Parker Mayer, who pushes forward. That's Rankin up on the left side of the field into the middle of the box and booted out swiftly by Fabrizi. Not a clean takedown from Rivas off the chest, and St. Louis will possess in a dangerous area again. Chipped in, looking for Gall. It was not a good attempt from St. Louis and will be a goal kick to Toronto. Osorio. Mark-Anthony Kay. Jordan Hamilton. Hamilton looking for an open teammate. There are not many red jerseys available to him. Past midfield, he is still with it though, and now will hand it off to Liam Frazier. His ball for Uccello, a little high, unable to handle it, and this will be St. Louis with it now.
The off the ball movement for Toronto FC 2 right now isn't good enough. It's not the first instance that we've seen players looking up, looking for people to pass to, and they're not doing the off the ball movement that is allowing them to create more opportunities.
Fortuitous bounce for Toronto here has allowed a throw in deep in St. Louis territory. They were not opportunistic enough, but they will keep pressing forward. Mirabelli will knock it down, tries to run forward, unable to get through the St. Louis attack, and now a hard challenge there from Barklage. Takes down Osorio, and he is in some discomfort, and it will be a yellow card for Brandon Barklage in the 28th minute. A second look at the hard challenge from Barklage.
He knew he was getting beat there, so he went cleats up, but very dangerous to do, and obviously got the card for it.
25, Brandon Barklage.
So Uccello will take Toronto's second dangerous area set piece of the match.
He'll be going into the wind here, so it'll be interesting to see if he does do a set piece here, a quick pass with Mirabelli, or if he's going to try, but the wind is going against where he's trying to.
It is essentially directly in his face, and he does send it down for Mirabelli, who's able to run onto it on the goal line, sends it into the box, and it is knocked away by St. Louis and kept in off the end line by Takata, preventing a corner kick, and now cleared out to midfield. Chantal, your impressions and opinion on the decision there?
I think it was a smart decision. You can tell they've obviously been working on set pieces during practice, and going against the wind, why not make it on the ground? And unfortunate for them, they didn't get it across, but it was better than shooting it right at the goaltender's hands.
"29 minutes played now in Toronto. We are still looking for our opening marker. The offensive struggles for Toronto continue in the early going of this match. And the goalkeeping brilliance of Quillen Roberts is back on display again tonight. This is his first action at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Alex Bono was the starting goalkeeper for both of the matches last week against Pittsburgh and then Rochester. 2-0 defeats, both of them. Although hard to fault Alex Bono for the 4 goals conceded earlier this week. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all of the latest Nike Soccer information. And this played down by St. Louis will be a throw-in to Toronto deep in their own territory. Mark-Anthony Kay. Takata goes to ground to win that away. Rivas jumps up to knock it down. He is able to win it free for a teammate. Jordan Hamilton can't get it away from James Musa, who stepped up. Now it's Liam Fraser's turn to step up and reverse possession for Toronto. Uccello, long ball for Rivas, and he is unable to get to it first. Sam Fink will kick it out of bounds, but it will give Toronto a throw-in about 18 yards away from the end line. Hamilton receives it from Godinho, now back. It's Fraser. Fraser plays it in. Rivas is there, does not go up. And this is kicked out by Bibbs onto the near side. And bouncing over the fence area and into the forest behind us. Seems like there's one per game that gets lost back there. Osorio. Mirabelli. Kay working towards the area. Flips it in. It's off the shoulder area of Sam Fink. Jordan Hamler, I believe it was Edwin Rivas, looking for a call. Does not get one, and St. Louis will play on. Comes to Osorio. He's able to chest it down for Fraser. Pushed back for Thomas, and it is now into the Toronto side of the field with the Reds still possessing. Godinho finds Hamilton. A nifty little one-touch pass there for Mirabelli, and he's unable to connect with a teammate, and the miscommunication between Mirabelli and Jordan Hamilton appears to be an ongoing problem for Toronto, as once again, the two strikers unable to link up. That's off Mark-Anthony Kay. A little bit of a foul there as well. Mike Ambersley is pleading to the official to no avail, and it will be a throw to Toronto. Thought it was off Kay, but it will be Toronto ball. And that's a handball there from Brian Gall with the elbow coming in. He's trying to plead his case, but that will fall on deaf ears. He's pointing to his shoulder, but he is right in front of our vantage point, and it was very clearly off his elbow. Skylar Thomas onto the right flank for Godinho, and the lanky defender will get it back once more. Frazier onto the near side of the field for Mark Anthony Kay. It is Osorio. Kay. Toronto with some numbers moving forward. Kay into an area. Switches over for Godinho. Godinho will take a right-footed attempt, but never going to trouble Alec Khan with that sort of pressure from that area. But we see Toronto starting to emerge a little bit and generating some attack closer to the St. Louis goal.
Yeah, they're switching it up. They're trying different things rather than that long ball that they tried the first 10 minutes into the game. That opportunity, you need a little bit more behind that for that to actually count as a solid effort, but it's an improvement from the first 15 minutes of the game.
On the right flank for Bibbs. Bibbs plays it through, looking for Ambersley. Thomas is back to defend neatly, as we have seen so often from him. And Osorio will find Edwin Rivas. Mark Anthony Kay for Skylar Thomas. One touch forward for Frazier. Now Uccello. He will control. Godinho. Uccello. Uccello forward for Rivas. He is offside. The idea was right, but Rivas just a step ahead of the St. Louis defender. Bibbs. Now Bushu. Taken down by Osorio. His pass at first is no good, but he gets it back. Jordan Hamilton for Uccello. Toronto pushing forward. Uccello finds Mirabelli. He's into the area. There's a strike from Osorio. It's deflected and knocked away by Alec Khan. And he had to be sharp to make a left-hand save there. St. Louis will clear, and it is all the way down to Quillen Roberts. And once again, an opportunity for Toronto, and they are getting closer.
You can see the shift in momentum between the two teams. Toronto FC II now taking control and creating more opportunities and possession.
A foul to St. Louis here, and we'll remind you that all USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. And you can connect with the USL YouTube channel today, and we thank you for following the USL tonight from Toronto. Matt DiNicolantonio and Chantel Blais here in Vaughan at the Ontario Soccer Centre for Toronto FC 2 and St. Louis FC. We are scoreless in the opening 35 minutes, and we see a second look at Toronto's most recent attempt, and it looked like it may have gone off the foot of the Toronto player in the shot from Osorio. Uccello will cross it into the box, and it hangs up a little bit too long. Rivas is unable to get to it first. Khan will jump forward and grab it and thwart the opportunity for Toronto. No goals in the opening 36 and a half minutes, Chantel, but as you mentioned earlier, this game has a pace to it, and these first 36 minutes have seemed to have gone by in the blink of an eye. Yeah,
there haven't been a lot of time wasted. Normally, especially when it's 0-0, they're not going to waste time on purpose. But it's been intense. You can see the players. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if there is a first goal in the first half, but it will be a game changer for sure.
Another near opportunity there for St. Louis. Takata was in the area, but he was unable to get a foot on it. And the back line of Toronto holding steady once more, with Quillen Roberts being the anchor in goal as well. Amersley runs onto it into the box and then steps on the ball, and he goes down, and he looks skyward from the ground. He has been all around the ball in the Toronto penalty area. He has had A couple of shots knocked away by Quillen Roberts. Another opportunity sent wide, and a fourth opportunity that he was unable to get a foot on. He has not had a strong first half in terms of results, given the amount of opportunity he's seen.
His off-the-ball movement is very strong. That's how he's creating the opportunities. It's just capitalizing on them, excuse me. But if he does end up pocketing one of these, he's going to continue to be very dangerous.
The throw-in will be to Mark-Anthony Kay. You see on your screen right now, he will dish it to Fabrizi. That cross intended for Godinho did not have the proper coordinates, and it is off the map. This is Rankin. Pace slows down as James Musa will take it and move it forward for Jacob Bouchou. Nick Bibbs gets around Kay. He's into the area. He'll have an attempt. It's a cross, and it's an own goal. Marcus Godinho slid to try and block the pass across, and he puts it into his own goal, and that will end the shutout streak of Quillen Roberts at a little over 300 consecutive minutes.
It seemed like there was a defensive breakdown because Kay was coming back, but normally when if he's already beat, the defender should shift, and nothing happened. They gave him the space, and unfortunate cross, and it was unfortunate for Godinho.
Now, I should mention Charles Rankin was right behind him, and had the pass gone through, it's very likely a tap in for Rankin and a goal for St. Louis regardless, but not the way that you want to see the first tally on the board if you're Toronto, and for a third consecutive match here in their new home, they will have to play from behind. Can they find the second goal this time? In the two previous matches, they have conceded a second. It's so important to get that second goal to draw level.
And the last time they did play them, they were down, and they came right back and ended up winning. So it's just how they take the next 5 minutes, including injury time, and if they answer back. Particularly,
I guess, disappointing, you could say, considering they had started to show signs of life offensively and thought that, you know, to continue to chisel away, they may have been able to get one of their own. And now they're down. Gall. Amersley. Bouchou. Mayer. Mayer will push forward. There's a cross. Amersley stops it. Still on his foot. Now Rankin. There's a strike. Block from Uccello. High in the air. Headed down by Bouchou. Mayer. Rankin. Barklage. Bouchou. Mayer. Rankin. Rankin once more. Bouchou. And Rankin a third time. Barklage. Bibbs. Fink. Musa. Jacob Bouchou. Brian Gall. Excuse me, that's Mayer. Now Sam Fink. Barklage. And following the goal, St. Louis now very content to sort of pass the ball around and just keep the possession. And they likely do not want to concede anything before halftime that even remotely considers a scoring chance. The kick from Khan. And Kay is forced to send that out of bounds. And that will result in a quick throw taken by Nick Bibbs. Barklage. Bibbs Tries to play it forward. Thomas will head it down. Frazier, Godinho. Godinho and Frazier. Push forward, looking for Osorio. That's off the head of Fink. Bibbs will have to retreat, and he will send it out of bounds. Toronto will throw in, and Osorio will take it. About just over 2 minutes away from added time in the first half. Throw into Rivas. Osorio into the middle, and it is knocked away. Fabrizi pushing forward, looking for Godinho, and that finds a St. Louis player, not the intended target. And Alec Can will take his time in delivering this ball, much to the dismay of Jordan Hamilton, who is nearby looking on. Okay, we'll head it back towards his goalkeeper. Roberts will get there and wait for an opportunity to push it forward. Picks it up and throws it over to his teammate Thomas. Osorio. Frazier. Long up for Godinho. Godinho and Hamilton. Uccello. Frazier. Push forward, looking for Rivas. Pass does not connect, and Can will be on it for St. Louis. Out of bounds from Gull. And no additional time here in the first half. And for Toronto FC 2, it's a hard luck deficit at the break. They were starting to get some momentum offensively, starting to push forward, starting to get some opportunities, and a counterattack from St. Louis across from Nick Bibbs into the Toronto goal off the foot of defender Marcus Godinho. It is an own goal for Toronto in the 39th minute, and a difficult pill to swallow for Toronto early on. And what will be the response from Toronto in the second half? They are still looking for an opening tally in this building, and they have continued to struggle offensively. Only one caution in the first half, and that belongs to St. Louis captain Brandon Barklage, a yellow card in the 28th minute. Toronto with no corners in that opening half, St. Louis with just one. And we have Chantel Blaze standing by at field level. Chantel.
Thanks, Matt. Anthony, 1-0 after 45 minutes. What's got to be the difference in the next second half?
We just got to stay more engaged. I think we're going to want it more right now. I think they're working harder than us, and that's why they're up 1-0.
And with passing the ball through, are you going to change any style of the play or continue and just try and get possession?
No, that's our game. Trying to get through. We've been working with that all week, so just got to keep doing that. Hopefully it goes in.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Back to you.
Thank you, Chantel. That was Anthony Osorio. Of course, his brother Jonathan on the Toronto FC 2 first team. They were victorious this afternoon. And Toronto FC 2 looking to join them in the win column tonight. They are fighting an uphill battle. Down by 1 at halftime. First half highlights and second half action will be coming to you in about 13 minutes. We will be back with you then. Stay tuned to Toronto FC 2 Soccer on torontofc.ca. Welcome back to Toronto FC Soccer. Let's take a look at the opening half highlights. Luca Uccello with an early free kick there, curls it right onto the keeper. Moments later, excellent scoring opportunity from Mike Ambersley, but Quillen Roberts is able to get the right hand out, make the save. Then it was Charles Rankin with a quick strike. Once again, Roberts equal to the task. Our only booking of the opening half was Brandon Barklage with a hard studs up tackle there on Osorio. An opportunity from Marcus Godinho is easily handled by the keeper. Osorio with a quick strike, a deflection, and an easy save for Alec Khan. And then the opening and only goal of the first half, own goal for Marcus Godinho off the cross from Nick Bibbs. That is where we stand right now as we are readying ourselves for second half action. The team's just making their way slowly back onto the pitch. We will see if there's any substitutions to report of. None were made in the first half. It was a half with a lot of pace to it, and as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, Toronto has 3 games in the next 7 days starting this evening. So you know that head coach Jason Bent will want to keep some of his starters fresh by either limiting their minutes tonight or giving them one of the subsequent games off. And again, in the USL, 5 substitutions per side are allowed. We have Chantel Blais on the sidelines with Toronto head coach Jason Bent.
Thanks, Matt. Jason, 1-0 after 45 minutes. Overall thoughts on the first half?
I think we were too deep from the strikers straight through the entire team, conceding far too much space. And then in terms of the ball, once we win the ball, we've been guilty of just giving away the ball far too quickly. And it doesn't give us a chance to get ourselves pushed up the field and find a shape. So we need to improve in that area. And we also need to try and find some runs in behind them, purposeful runs, to try and put their back line under a bit of pressure.
And have you made any adjustments going into the second half?
We've talked about a few things, as I just talked about, in terms of substitutions. We're going to leave it as is for the time being and then see how the half progresses.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Back to you.
Thank you, Chantel. That is Chantel Blais down on the sidelines. I am Matt Nicola Antonio giving you the call for tonight's game. It's Toronto FC 2 and St. Louis FC. As head coach Jason Bent mentioned, no substitutions from Toronto after the opening 45 minutes. So they will remain with the current 11, and those 11 will huddle up just on the Toronto side of midfield. A little pre-half pep talk, likely led by Skylar Thomas or Quillen Roberts. Roberts is wearing the captain's armband tonight. It's the 3rd consecutive game without their regular captain, Chris Manella. He is with Team Canada, the under-23 selection for the Pan Am Games here in Toronto. He, along with 4 of his teammates who are not in the lineup again tonight for a 3rd consecutive game. And as much as the coaching staff, I'm sure, would love to see some results for Canada at the Pan Am Games, I'm sure they are very much looking forward to having 5 of their regular players back in the lineup within the next couple of weeks. We're underway here in the second half. 1-0 St. Louis over Toronto so far. A 40th minute own goal from Marcus Godinho is the difference thus far. Whistled for a foul here is Toronto, and St. Louis will get the quick free kick. And they are going to not take this quickly. I mentioned it was a quick free kick, but now they are going to do it a little bit more purposefully. As they move a few players into the box, it's a long left-footed cross in, knocked away by Toronto. Ambersley will cross in. That's off the head of Frazier. Away momentarily, comes down for Bushu and cleared out of the box by Edwin Rivas. And it is run onto now by Takada as he will push back forward for St. Louis. James Musa. Takada crosses in. Headed attempt there from Ambersley, and he did not connect. And the ball will sail towards the sideline. And now pushed forward by Toronto with Osorio trying to find Jordan Hamilton. And that was intercepted by Nick Bibbs, and will give St. Louis possession, and now Osorio takes down his man on the far side of the field. Will be another free kick for St. Louis in that spot. So the free kick to be taken here from Bushu. And once again, they will do so very deliberately. Should mention St. Louis, a pretty decent team on the road so far this season. They have collected 12 points on the road with a 3-2-3 record. 12 of their 18 have come on the road. So certainly not a foregone conclusion for Toronto, as you'd like to think it would be on home soil, as they continue to look for an opening goal at the Ontario Soccer Centre in this, their third match. Skylar Thomas, long ball pushed forward, intended for Jordan Hamilton, and it will roll out of bounds and will be a throw-in. A beautiful sunset in the southwest here from this vantage point here. Absolutely gorgeous, pinkish orange, giving a lovely backdrop for this contest. As the spectators see Charles Rankin throw into Ambersley. Rankin will receive it back. Barklage. And the background noise you hear is the many cadets in the audience, in the crowd tonight, cheering on the Toronto team, trying to give them some encouragement as they look for an equalizer as we approach 3 or 4 minutes played here in the second half. There's a cross in. Thomas is able to get a foot on it, and it will go out. I guess it was off the foot of Ambersley, and it will be a goal kick. Frazier chips forward for Rivas. He will control against Bibbs. Rivas now for Kay. Kay will try a long ball, not entirely sure what the intention was there, and it will roll out of bounds and be a goal kick for Alacan.
For Toronto to get on the board, they're going to have to, like we talked about earlier, communication. Just speaking with Benny said, when they're getting the opportunities and getting the ball, they're just kind of giving it away, and that's going to be the difference for them to get an equalizer, and it has to be early to kind of set the pace for the second half.
Godinho looking for some redemption in the second half. He is taken down by Jacob Bushu. And now a little bit of pushing, and Mirabelli coming in with a hard shove, and a little bit of dramatics there from Jacob Bushu. Maybe Brian Gall in there as well. It looks like the referee will have some words with Mike Ambersley. And Fabrizi is having some words for his opponents as well. Skylar Thomas trying to calm him down. And on the ground is Brian Gall, and the trainer will come out. See if we can get another look here. And a smack to the stomach from Mirabelli. And there are still words being exchanged. The trainer is out. And I suppose you could say that Brian Gall is a little winded right now. A yellow card being shown. It looked like it's to Ambersley right now. That's the player that the referee had motioned towards him. St. Louis captain is Brandon Barklage. He's having words with the official right now as well. And we'll see if there's a card to Mirabelli or not.
I really don't think the ref saw what Mirabelli did. I think he gave the original card out because of him trying to postpone the game, but it's obvious that a little bit of anger and frustration is showing on this young Toronto FC2 team.
Fans, while we await for this match to get back underway, don't forget you can visit the new USLsoccer.com for the latest news and live stats, and also check out the social media hub We're shortly back underway here. Now it looks like the referee will have some words with Massimo Mirabelli. Does not look like the cards are coming out, but a stern talking to nonetheless. And the free kick will come from Uccello. No one near him right now. Several players up in the box, and the temperature of this game has just gone up a little bit. And we'll see what effect this exchange has on the rest of the match. The free kick from Uccello is cleared by St. Louis. And a aggressive pursuit there from Ambersley is fended off by Godinho. Hamilton taken down, and this will be another free kick in a good spot for Toronto, and now Jordan Hamilton will roll around on the turf in some pain. And another good opportunity here for Toronto. What will they do with it? Uccello standing over the ball once more. In the absence of Babuli, he has become one of the go-to players for set pieces. He pushes it forward, it's off ahead, it's down in the area, but it is cleared by Nick Bibbs. Not very far, Frazier is able to control it. Thomas is in there, he heads it down for Hamilton. There's a strike and it's over the goal. Right idea from Toronto, and not sure Hamilton could have done much more with that. He was being pressured, the ball was behind him a little bit, he needed to get the shot away. And you see the height of Skylar Thomas, a tall defender, creating some offense, push forward in the box. So Toronto now, it looks like, is building a little bit off what they started to build in the first half before conceding.
Caution in the 52nd minute by St. Louis FC number 15, Mike Anderson.
Confirmation from the public address announcer that the yellow card in the 52nd minute was to Mike Ambersley and to no one else. And we'll see if the events here cause the referee to become a little bit quicker with the whistle now.
Yeah, the first half he actually let a lot slide, and then we saw a couple of dirty tackles, so it'd be interesting to see after Mirabelli's incident how he calls the rest of the second half.
Another foul on St. Louis, and a quick free kick to be taken from Uccello. He does play it quickly, but the intention for Hamilton is intercepted by, I believe that was Mayer, and sent down to Toronto territory, where Quillen Roberts will find Skylar Thomas. Hamilton, Uccello, long ball looking for Godinho, but with two St. Louis players in the area. There's an aggressive challenge from Godinho. And will the book come out for Marcus Godinho? It will. So a rough last 15 minutes of play for Marcus Godinho, an own goal, and now a yellow card. Fans, become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content.
36, Marcus Godinho.
Free kick will be taken by the goalkeeper, and St. Louis will push forward with a number of bodies. Long ball from Alec Can. Thomas clears it with a header. Hamilton will take it. Hamilton will look for a teammate. Backheel flick is off the foot of the St. Louis defender, Mayer, and will be a throw in for Toronto. Godinho will take it. Uccello will receive. Rankin is able to disrupt the progress of that. Nifty little spin move there from Brian Gall. Will get St. Louis going, but Toronto back the other way. Another hard tackle and another caution for St. Louis, and it's going to be on Brian Gall. That's the third yellow card of the night for St. Louis.
Caution in the 57th minute by St. Louis FC number 8, Brian Gall.
And it appears very clear that the referee is not going to tolerate any aggression moving forward in this match.
Not at all. And it kind of seems like how he's been calling the second half that St. Louis is getting frustrated, and this can actually benefit Toronto FC too if they continue to play how they are playing right now. And cause another yellow, because then they could be playing up a man, but
The focus for Toronto will be to remain poised and not allow the theatrics to negatively impact their attempts to come up with an equalizer. They've won a throw-in. It's quickly done by Hamilton. It's Mirabelli. It's crossed in for Rivas, and it's just over his head. He's unable to get a touch on it, and Nick Bibbs will clear it out. Mark-Anthony Kay pushes forward into the box looking for Rivas, but Fink is there to clear with some help, but Godinho stops for Toronto. Played forward for Mirabelli. Mirabelli worked on by Mayer. Mirabelli looking for some support, has it in Godinho. Godinho, Uccello flicks it over. Godinho moves forward. It's a shot on goal. He was rushed, and he put it right at Alec Can. But we see once again Toronto beginning to flap its wings and beginning to look like they want to take flight.
they're definitely now connecting in the attacking third, and that's something that they've been emphasizing and working on the last week. So it's nice to see that they're actually being able to connect and create opportunities on target.
So Toronto looking to seize momentum here in this second half as they trail by a goal. And the St. Louis team looking, for the moment, a little bit flustered as they've collected 2 yellow cards in this second half. Toronto does have one as well, as the intensity has picked up. And Mayer with some nifty footwork to pull away from 2 defenders. Hamilton and Brian Gall there you see come together, and Gall stumbles to ground. Hamilton puts his hands up to plead innocence. The referee saw it out of the corner of his eye and decided that it was all fair game. Liam Fraser will take it now for Toronto. Mirabelli looking to spring Rivas. He's done so. Rivas trying to run onto it. And a good challenge there from Sam Fink. And Rivas was unable to get a touch. And that will go out of bounds right into the hands of Malik Johnson, and it will give him an opportunity to enter the match. And it is going to be Anthony Osorio who is exiting. So exit Osorio and enter Malik Johnson.
And Malik Johnson got a lot of minutes in the 2 previous games, and he is an offensive force. He did take a lot of, he took a lot of control in the last 2 games. Obviously, not the outcomes they were looking for, but it'll be interesting to see how he contributes to this second half.
Started the match and played 70 minutes on July 8th against Pittsburgh, and started the following match playing 45 minutes against Rochester. It was his USL debut on the 8th against Pittsburgh. This particular foul will go the way of a St. Louis free kick. As we are into the 61st minute now, we've just seen our first substitution of the night. A reminder, Malik Johnson in, Anthony Osorio out. He will join his younger brother, Nicholas, on the bench. We'll see if Nicholas Osorio will make an appearance at some point tonight. He was just added to the Toronto FC 2 player pool this week from the Toronto Academy. Long ball is looking for Hamilton. Hamilton will not get a touch on it. It's knocked out by the St. Louis defender. That was number 14, James Musa. And they're going to rule a corner kick, I believe. The correct call. An extra ball on the field right now. Mirabelli will have to send that out of bounds. He does so. And it nearly bounces right back onto the field. Luca Uccello will take it. Toronto's first corner of the night will come in the far corner to the right of goalkeeper Alec Khan. It's curled in, and Khan will come to punch it out. Thomas will collect it. My apologies, that's Malik Johnson just into the match. Number 56, wearing orange cleats very similar to Skylar Thomas's. And it appears A St. Louis player is approaching the fourth official, looking to check in. Brian Ciasulka will look to enter the match shortly. Free kick taken by Can. Push forward. Gall and Fabrizi go up. Fabrizi able to win it. Kay will push it up. And we've seen this in previous matches from Toronto. Marc-Anthony Kay, it seems, not used as much here in the second half as he was in the first half. A lot more going up the middle and a lot more stretching forward and not so much going out on the left side.
And I'm not sure if they purposely are doing this to take him out or make him stay focused more on defensive responsibilities, but he's very strong at carrying the ball and feeding the guys in the box. So I'm actually shocked that they haven't really used him this game really that much at all.
Brian Chisulka will check in for St. Louis. And it is Kentaro Takada who will come out. So one substitution each have been used as we are in the 64th minute. It will be a Toronto free kick on the far, or a throw-in, excuse me, on the far side. Thrown in off ahead of a St. Louis player. Kay unable to knock it down. Ambersley is there to collect for St. Louis. Kay will recollect for Toronto. Frazier for Skylar Thomas. On the near side for Marcus Godinho. Into the middle for Rivas. Rivas trying to get some separation past Musa, unable to do so. Chiasulka. That's Bibbs working against Kay on the far side. And I believe that is a foul call. The official flag is up, and Marc-Anthony Kay will be whistled here, and a free kick from a good spot for St. Louis, as they will look to increase the Toronto deficit to 2. It will be Brian Gall who will stand over it. Luca Uccello is closest. He at the edge of the 18-yard box. 4 white shirts have moved into the penalty area, while 7 are back for Toronto in the red uniforms. Curled in, and Thomas and Roberts collide. The goalkeeper goes down. He momentarily appeared injured, but he is back to his feet. St. Louis with the ball. Barklage. Now for Rankin. Mayer lofts it forward. Roberts will glove, and he will try to send it the length of the field. Jordan Hamilton is the intended receiver. It goes up and comes down, and Hamilton will push it forward. Uccello will give to Frazier. Marc-Anthony Kay on the left side. Kay will send it through the middle. Rivas unable to control. Frazier comes up, and he will be whistled for a push off the back of the St. Louis player. And this will allow a second substitute for Toronto to enter. It will be Marcus Godinho coming out and Gabriel Boaki coming in. While Boaki enters, fans, don't forget that you can follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider, join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. So with Godinho coming out, he was the only Toronto player cautioned, so they are now with a clean slate of players on the field, and a little bit of a rough night for Godinho. He had a couple of opportunities, but never really able to generate much power behind his strikes, and of course he had the own goal resulting in the 1-0 scoreline right now. So for Marcus Godinho, you know that he wanted to stay on the field and have an opportunity to help get his team level, but for head coach Jason Bent, it might have just been an opportunity to give a young player the rest of the night off to clear his head.
For sure, and you could tell he looked discouraged coming off the field. Jason Bent taps him on the back saying, it's all right, it's football, that happens. There's not a worse feeling than an own goal, but it happens. That's what makes football kind of so exciting. But just because that happened, he didn't really have that poor of a game anyways. But
Malik Johnson pushing it forward for Toronto. They've got an opportunity here. It's played onto the near side. Uccello will try to run it down. Has he done it? No, he has not. It drifts out of bounds past the end line and will go for a goal kick. And Toronto will make their third substitution of the night. It will be Kevin Timoshy to enter, and Edwin Rivas, who has been a little bit of unfortunate attacker tonight. Rivas is just unable, it seems, to be in the right position to find those through balls, and it will be Kevin Timoshy who will have an opportunity to take his place. As we see a St. Louis player on the ground, that is Nick Bibbs, and this will result in the trainer coming out to take a look at him, and both sides will head to the benches to get some water.
it looks like he may be cramping.
It was a very hot day in Toronto, but a cool evening as a bit of a strong breeze has developed since kickoff at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We are in the 69th minute, so just over 20 minutes plus added time for Toronto, and the goalless streak here at their new facility is now approaching a third straight game, but this is by far the best offensive showing we have seen from them in the past 3 games.
Yeah, we've talked about how improving in the attacking third it had to be done. And today, even in the second half, we are seeing that, yes, they're down, but they still aren't changing their games, the style of their play. They're trying to connect, and it's just going to be off-the-ball movement. And like we talked about earlier, it doesn't have to be a pretty goal to get this one in and kind of break the goalless curse. But for them, they still have a lot of time, and if they continue to work hard and do the off-the-ball movement and communicate, they should be able to break this 3-game goalless streak.
Looks like we will have a substitution shortly. It will be Oscar Gasecki checking in for St. Louis, and Nick Bibbs coming out. He will be deemed unable to continue tonight. So a second substitution used from St. Louis. So 2 for St. Louis, 3 for Toronto.
Entering the match, number 13, Nick Bibbs. Entering the match, number 4, Oscar Gasicki.
The 3 St. Louis players with yellow cards still remain on the field. So none of those players have checked out thus far. And a third substitute looks ready. Peter Kelly is standing up with his game shirt on. And he's got the substitution card in his hand. So in the next few minutes, we will see him enter as well. We're back underway following the injury to Bibbs. And Toronto will continue to look for that goal. You know they wanted 3 points tonight. And with less than 20 to go and a deficit at hand, you have to imagine that they will be happy to score 1 and come away with 1. 1 point obviously preferable to 0. And they need to start putting some points into the standings tally if they hope to move up the Eastern Conference board. And the attack will be strong from Toronto moving forward. Uccello is with it now. Johnson, 1 touch for Timoshy. Timoshy double teamed near the sideline, and that's won by Rankin. Long ball up on the left side for Mike Ambersley. He is able to run it down in the corner. Skylar Thomas will watch him. Rankin will send it in towards the box. That's Chiasulka. Back for Bushu. Brandon Barklage. Barklage moves towards the middle. Chips it out wide. Mark-Anthony Kay will defend Oscar Gasecki. And that cross is an easy one to handle for Daniel Fabrizi, and Liam Frazier will push it forward. Mirabelli was unable to handle that ball, and it allows St. Louis to recontrol. Parker Mayer chips forward. Rinkin. And out of bounds. And we do see the substitution now. Number 24, Peter Kelly will enter. Number 11, Charles Rankin will exit.
Number 11, Charles Rankin.
Rankin with a strong showing tonight, creating offense primarily on the left side, and perhaps a look towards the defensive side of the ball for the St. Louis coaching staff with the substitution of Peter Kelly. Toronto, however, will obviously continue to look all offense. This ball will fall inbounds and then the second bounce out of it. Gabriel Boaki will throw in. Off the head of Bushu as the throw-in was intended for Malik Johnson. Boaki will throw in again. Hamilton will receive, unable to corral it completely, and it is pushed forward by Kelly. Toronto intercepts Thomas. Puccello into the middle, one touch for Tamashi. Hamilton loses control. Through ball, finds Ambersley. He's looking to create some space. Chip forward for a teammate, Chiasulka, but the connection was not there, and an easy handle for Quillen Roberts. The goalkeeper, affectionately known as Q among his teammates, will roll it forward to Uccello. Liam Frazier will control. Onto the left flank for Mark-Anthony Kay. Kay, Frazier once more. Frazier will send a long cross up forward. Boaki trying to run onto it. He is unable to do so, and St. Louis will have a throw from deep in their own territory. And St. Louis with the gamesmanship, the player adjusting the shin pads, the socks. A few more seconds tick off the clock as we're now into the 75th minute. Boaki throws in quickly. Frazier knocked off the ball, an impressive tackle there from Gall, and a hard tackle from Toronto will result in a foul and a St. Louis free kick, and once again we will see them likely take their time moving this ball forward. Yellow card given out there. Believe it was Mirabelli?
Yeah.
And had to see that coming with Mirabelli in the thick of things earlier in the night.
In the 75th minute, number 42, Maxwell Mirabelli.
Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. And Skylar Thomas will be whistled for a foul there as he goes up the back of Brian Gall, and this is in a good spot for St. Louis, just a few feet outside of the 18-yard penalty area. And they have not pressed much in the second half as Toronto has taken it to them with possession in the attacking half. But a couple of close set pieces for St. Louis have given Toronto fans reason for concern, and this will be one of them. And it will be Mike Ambersley who will attempt this free kick. Two-man wall, Hamilton and Uccello. Ambersley crosses, it's off ahead and out of bounds, and it will be a corner off the head of Thomas, I believe. And slowly trotting over to the corner, I believe that's Brian Chiasulka. See if he lofts it up or plays it short. He will loft it up. into the area. It comes down, bounces once, headed away by Thomas. Hamilton will take it off the head, off the left foot, out of bounds. And once again, the Toronto defense is equal to the task of a St. Louis set piece.
That was a very well executed corner. Perfect spot. There was just no one on the back post for the punch in there.
Throw in to be taken by St. Louis. This game sort of mirroring what we saw a week ago tonight, or rather 10 days ago. The first game at this facility, the Wednesday evening against Pittsburgh. Toronto went down early in that game, and they did fight back with some good pressure late in the second half before conceding an injury time second half goal on essentially a soccer version of an empty netter, with Alex Bono moved up into the box on the corner kick, and then the defender Anthony Arena running the length of the field for a tap in. So almost essentially a 1-0 scoreline in that game. This game has a little bit of that feel with Toronto pushing forward, but you know that any slight crack in the defense and St. Louis will have a second. But Toronto is looking for it. Hamilton unable to get a head on it. It is off the foot of the St. Louis defender, and this will go out for a corner kick. So Toronto in the 79th minute will have an opportunity to bring this game level. And will they play this one short? Luca Uccello will put it down. Mirabelli is right beside him. We see the third Osorio brother, Nicholas. He is speaking with the fourth official. He will check in shortly. That's played in, knocked down by a Toronto player, Frazier, but cleared out by Fink. And it will be Mirabelli who is coming out for Osorio. So Nicholas Osorio will make his Toronto FC II debut, his USL debut, his first match as a professional for the 17-year-old Toronto native. All three Osorio brothers seeing action today. Jonathan, the eldest, with the first team in Toronto's win over Philadelphia this afternoon. He said he was coming to Vaughan tonight to watch his brothers play. And if he did make it to the Ontario Soccer Centre, he was able to see both of his younger brothers in action tonight for Toronto. Anthony got the start. He was substituted out. And now Nicholas is in, looking to provide some offensive punch in place of Massimo Mirabelli, who is out with that change. Frazier will control, dribbles back towards midfield, and Fabrizi. That's Osorio, and now Frazier. Osorio. Frazier nearly intercepted there by Gall as he dove to intercept, was unable to do so. And now he's got the ball on his foot in the center circle. Ambersley stepping up beautifully was Fabrizi, and he's able to win the ball for Toronto. Here's Uccello. Uccello looking for Hamilton, just a step behind him and off the foot of Sam Fink, and St. Louis will control. We're down into the final 10 minutes or so here in Toronto. Toronto FC II looking for an equalizer. Fans, remember that all USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. Matt DiNicolantonio and Chantel Blais here at the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan as Toronto FC II looks to snap a two-game losing streak at their new home facility. And they look to put a goal on the board. It has been quite a drought. 1 goal in 6 matches heading into tonight. And nearly a 7th with just the 1 goal. The last goal coming in stoppage time of the first half against Wilmington at BMO Field 3 weeks ago. Free kick won here by St. Louis, and you know that they would love to put this one to bed with a second goal here within the final 10. And you know, for their offense, they would like to see a goal. They technically not credited with a goal for. It's an own goal from Marcus Godinho that's the difference right now. It will be Brian Gall. He scored against Toronto back on May 14th in St. Louis in the opening minute. He lofts that in. Skylar Thomas with the header. Mark Anthony Kay will pick it up. He is marked closely by James Musa. That clear, unsuccessful for Toronto. Still up in the air. Gall will head it forward. Thomas will head it back. Gall will pick it up. He is watched closely by Malik Johnson. Gabriel Boaki is there as well, and he is able to dispossess and find Uccello. He's got to be quick, and he is, as Barklage was right behind him. And Frazier will play it up onto the left flank for Mark Anthony Kay. Kay into the middle for Nicholas Osorio, the youngest of the three Osorio brothers. And that's an offside flag raised against Kevin Timochi.
Once again, St. Louis not rushing anything, counting the last seconds and trying to burn as many seconds as they can.
We didn't see any injury time in the first half, but I have to imagine with a few injuries and bookings and substitutions, we're looking at, I would guess, at least 3 minutes in this second half.
I'd agree.
But we're still about 6.5 minutes away from that determination. Goal kick for Roberts here. He had his shutout streak snapped at, we'll call it 311 minutes. It was 271 coming in. Thomas plays forward, but Barklage is able to head it back forward. Kelly is fought off the ball by Uccello and Boaki, but the referee determining that Boaki was a little too aggressive in that particular play. And St. Louis will have a free kick, and it will be Brian Chisulka. He puts it in, and Roberts had to do well there to back up and grab it with two hands. That one gave Roberts a little bit more trouble than I'm sure he would have liked. Liam Frazier. 5 minutes until added time here in Toronto. The Baby Reds looking for an equalizer. Just one to break through and get some momentum moving forward. This is the first of 3 games in 7 nights. A very quick turnaround for a soccer schedule. Of course, the game on Tuesday against Montreal is a makeup game from Saturday, July 4th that was postponed. So originally not on the schedule for 3 games in 7 days, but that is the hand that they're dealt. And you know they want 1 goal just to build some momentum going into 2 games in 4 days next week. And
you can see it, yeah, there's 5 minutes left. There is urgency, but the off the ball movement is still not good enough for them to create these opportunities that they should be capitalizing on.
Malik Johnson will push forward. 1 touch gets it back. Johnson moves forward. There's a strike and a save there made by Alec Kane. He had to dive to his left. And a good dart forward from Malik Johnson. He is making the most of his limited minutes tonight. And perhaps auditioning for a starter's role on Tuesday against Montreal. Thomas heads it forward. It's won by Gall. And that is sent out of bounds. Throw into Toronto. Boaki will take it. Boaki did not play a week ago against Rochester. He did 4 days prior to that against Pittsburgh and played pretty well. And he's won himself a substitution appearance tonight and looking for a larger role going forward. Mark Anthony Kay for Johnson in the middle. Johnson looking for an open teammate. Finds Liam Frazier. Gabriel Boaki wide open on this side of the field. Finally is hit by Frazier. Uccello, back heel, one touch, not strong enough to reach its intended target. And St. Louis will control the clock, working against Toronto as we enter 87 minutes played. Fabrizi for Thomas as the Baby Reds really starting to push forward. Liam Frazier, that long ball looking for Osorio is headed forward. That's Nicholas Osorio, the third and youngest Osorio brother with Toronto FC2. He entered the match as a substitute in the second half. That's moved forward into the box, but a St. Louis player on it first, thwarting the opportunity for Toronto. Thomas steps up, wins that forward for TFC. Uccello will have a go from distance, but it's a distance wide. And a goal kick for St. Louis will provide them plenty of opportunity to milk this clock slowly. Long ball pushed forward by Can. Thomas is there to meet it with the header. St. Louis is able to win it forward. Kelly pushes the pace. Defended well by Fabrizi. Malik Johnson. Liam Frazier, pass intercepted by Chiasulka. And he will cross it in. Ambersley, he's onside. He runs onto it. Toronto will have to rush back to defend. And this will give St. Louis an opportunity to drain more precious seconds for Toronto. Barklage, flip forward, gets it back, taken down by Johnson. Referee says play on. Timochi. Frazier plays it back for Roberts. We are into the 90th minute of play. The fourth official has moved to midfield with the scoreboard in her hands. And any second now will give the indication of how much added time. A substitute is also there for St. Louis. This ball comes for Osorio. Timochi, back for Frazier. Now Kay. Kay pushing forward. On the left flank. He's looking to work into the middle. Hamilton heads it down. It's towards goal, but it is an easy stop for Can. Not even really a stop as the ball landed at his feet. He just had to pick it up.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes has been added. 5 minutes has been added.
5 minutes of added time here in Vaughan. Does Toronto have enough life for an equalizer and a point? It would be a tough way to lose. A strong defensive game, an own goal, the only thing standing between them and a even 0-0 scoreline right now. And we're going to see Chad Van de Griff enter.
Exiting the match, number 25, Brandon Bartley. Entering the match, number 21, Chad Van der Grief.
Brandon Barklage, the captain, will be checking out. And he is certainly taking his time. And Van de Griff enters the field as we are now over 1 minute of the minimum 5 of stoppage time. And the referee pointing to his watch to signal to St. Louis that he is not content with the way that they have been progressing at that pace. Thrown in by St. Louis. Headers back and forth, a third from Kay, a fourth from Frazier. Finally knocked down with a foot by Nicholas Osorio. It's to Frazier and Mark-Anthony Kay. The playback attempt for Frazier comes to Quillen Roberts, who is outside of the area and pushes that forward. Long ball played up. Kay has done well to win it down, and he'll win it a second time, and Malik Johnson has it for Toronto. Crossed over, switching field to Boaki. Uccello. Boaki was to run to the corner. Uccello sent it there. Boaki was a step late, and St. Louis will have an opportunity to get it out of their area. They have not done so yet. Now they do, off the left foot of Brian Gall. And Quillen Roberts will control it. Uccello, Boaki. Uccello again. Uccello crosses in. Osorio, the intended target, it doesn't find him. Frazier, Johnson, again Frazier, nearing 3 minutes played of added time. Okay, Frazier, looking for Osorio, doesn't connect, booted downfield by Sam Fink. Off ahead, comes to Frazier. Now Thomas will attempt to push forward. He'll have to run it down sideways first. And it's Uccello who will carry forward. Long up the left side. Kay unable to bring it down. Osorio, it prevents it from going out. There's Osorio looking for Timici, and it was behind him. How many times have we heard that tonight? Pass just behind the intended target for Toronto. Boaki will run over to win this. Back for Thomas, nearing 4 minutes of added time played. 5 were indicated from the fourth official. So Toronto will have about a minute and a half to work with. Expect a little bit more from the 5 added after the lengthy substitution delay from St. Louis. Frazier plays it in, comes out for Boaki. In for Uccello. Uccello will try to cross, and he's won a corner. A fourth substitution for St. Louis wants to enter. It's Aaron Horton looking to draw in. Will the referee allow him to? Not yet. First corner is played back past the end line, and it will be a second corner attempt from Uccello. Uccello sends it in and easily handled. Alec Can goes up to grab it. We've now approached the 5 minutes originally indicated from the fourth official. How much will we see added on to that? Still a 1-0 score in favor of St. Louis. Throw-in will go to Toronto, but I'm not sure the referee will allow much more past that. There it is, the final whistle in Toronto. The final score, St. Louis 1, Toronto 0. It is a third consecutive shutout defeat for Toronto at their new facility at the Ontario Soccer Centre. They fall by a score of 1-0 for the third consecutive loss following a pair of 2-0 defeats. Chantel, your impressions of Toronto's effort tonight?
It was all right. They lost momentum in this game, and I think they weren't playing. They tried to be too fancy when they weren't even able to do the simple things, and that's something that they're going to have to focus on and kind of get out of that habit, because we were talking before how busy this upcoming week is going to be for this team.
And on that, our next game will be Tuesday, as we mentioned. That will be against Montreal, and then we will be back on Friday. So 3 games in 7 days. The final score line tonight is 1-0. It was an own goal from Marcus Godinho in the 40th minute. You see the scoreboard there. A rough way to lose it for Toronto. Still no offense, but the defense certainly looked better on this particular night. Still without some of their stronger defensive players. No Chris Manella, no Manny Aparicio, no Adam Bouchard. And when those players come back, you put them in with Skylar Thomas, no Wesley Sharpie as well. Difficult to have the type of success they'd like to have without some of their top line players.
For sure, and like we've said, this team is a development league, and they are doing a good job. It's promising seeing these young guys who are getting these opportunities because they are playing against these teams. The outcomes aren't what they want, but they are still in the thick of things with these teams who are successful, like Rochester, only losing 2-0. So going against St. Louis, and credit to St. Louis today, they stayed composed, they were defensively sound, and even when they were up 1-0, you thought they'd kind of drop back, but they were high pressing, and they were putting Toronto FC II under a lot of pressure.
A number of young players in the lineup for Toronto tonight, and unfortunately for them, no points in the points column of the standings, and still no goals. Now just 1 goal in their last 7 contests. They will look to remedy that on Tuesday evening when their rivals from down the 401, FC Montreal, are in town. Another team that Toronto has beaten this season way back in March. It was a 2-0 scoreline in favor of the Baby Reds, and they will look to capitalize on that experience and put themselves back in the win column against one of their Canadian rivals. That will be Tuesday night, 8 o'clock is the kickoff. We want you to join us on that night as well. We thank you for being with us tonight. On behalf of Chantal Blay and our entire technical and production crew, thank you for joining us. Have an excellent Saturday night. We will see you on Tuesday for Toronto and Montreal.